All right. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Coffee with Carissa podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about, are you keeping yourself small and or are you scared to grow in business? And this topic is just come about because I have been chatting with one of my amazingly talented clients inside the Wolfpack Mastermind tonight. Like, this lady is really, really amazing. She's really, really talented. I believe that she has a business that she could grow to a really, really big level, and she might do that, but at the moment she's not in a position to wanting to do that for a couple of reasons, mainly because of some things that have happened in the past, in regards to people, and also things that have happened with tax and registering for, it's VAT or VAT in the UK and GST in Australia. And so I'm just going to quickly give you the backstory of, if I can find the post, hang on, I'm going to have to maybe edit this bit in the podcast afterwards, but and I would have given her business a massive shout out, but she has asked to be anonymous, so that's totally cool. Where did the post go? Here it is. All right. So this lady, as I said, has an amazing business. She specializes in hair extensions and her work is amazing. And for myself, I had a business that specialized in hair extensions years ago, and that was one of my best sellers. And so I kind of understand this industry and this product quite a lot. Now, this lady has in the past been stung with tax by going over the tax threshold of the amount where you should have been registered for VAT or GST, and had to back pay a whole bunch of tax, a whole bunch of money, therefore losing everything that she'd worked really hard for over the years. And because of that reason is now choosing to keep her business at a level where it's not going over that level, so that she doesn't have to get into the same situation, and also so that she doesn't have to raise her prices, because there's also the issue of or a concern that clients may not want to pay the higher price. And so I really wanted to talk about this because I have been through the exact same thing. My accountant, if she's watching or listening, will probably remember this. Maybe I might have had a different accountant before I started working with Diane, but Diane's amazing. But I got to a stage where my business, I really didn't do my taxes properly in the first couple of years of my business, because I actually had no idea what I was doing. And I've said this, like, I didn't study any business courses or read any business books or anything in the first few years of my own business growth, because I thought I knew it all. I didn't that I needed it, but also I didn't actually know that they were out there. And so I did everything the hard way. I made all of the mistakes that you could possibly make. I learned a lot of my lessons just through going through very, very shitty situations, which is one of the reasons why I'm now so passionate in helping other people to avoid those situations by educating themselves first, or at least getting through them faster by, being able to ask someone who's been through it what they did and how they can get through that quickly, because I didn't have any of that. And so because I wasn't keeping track of my taxes properly, or I thought I knew what I was doing, but really I had no idea, I ended up in a position where I had to back pay a lot of my BAS payments and a lot of my GST payments for my business. I think I ended up with having a bill from the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office, for about $40,000. And I didn't have that money sitting around in my account at the time. And so I was like, what the fuck? Like, what am I going to do? I've worked so hard for so long. I've got some savings built up. Like, I had probably about 20 grand in my account or something, because I'd gotten quite good at paying myself and saving at that time. But I was like, okay, well, I have to take out a payment plan arrangement with the ATO. And anyone who's in Australia who's done that probably knows that the interest rate with doing that is like really, really high. And you end up kind of going backwards, because every time you start to get ahead in profit-wise, you have to pay it towards the tax. And then you get another tax bill. And then all of a sudden you're going to more debt. And that happened to me for quite a while. And I was like, what am I going to do about this? Like, I can't like, my business is obviously growing. I need to learn what to do. I don't want to stop my growth. I think at that point I had maybe just opened my second store. So I was obviously over the, I think in Australia, you have to be making $80,000 $80,000 a year in revenue to register for GST. I'm not sure what that is in the UK or other countries. But yeah, and so I was like, what do I do? I think this is maybe the time when I did start working with Diane, my accountant now, and she recommended that I actually take out a loan from my bank, like a personal loan, to pay off the tax debt in full, because the interest rate is lower and it would be easier for me to pay that off. So that's what I did, and then I put aside a little plan to pay off a certain amount of my loan as quickly as I possibly could, because I hate being in debt. Like, I hate being in debt. I would much rather save up and pay cash for things, or just like smash off my loans as quickly as possible. And so that's what I did about that. And so I just wanted to share that story of, if you are in that situation, and also then, sorry, I did sit down with my accountant and we figured out a plan of how to avoid that happening again, because every time I would find myself in a difficult situation in my business, I always look at them as learning experiences. I always look at anything that goes wrong as, how can I prevent this again in the future? Because if you have the same kind of situation happening over and over and over again, and you never actually learn from it, and you never actually fix it or improve it, or put any systems or plans or processes in place to avoid it happening again, then you're just digging yourself into a hole and you're never going to keep moving forward. So that's when I decided, I sat down, I figured out, okay, exactly how much money do I have to be putting aside into an account that I opened specifically for tax, specifically for GST and BAS and superannuation and all of that stuff every single week. And I've done that ever since. And I think that was about when I was about 24 or 25, around then, that I started doing that. Because I remember exactly living in it would have been 24, because I'd broken up with my ex-boyfriend, so I was living by myself in an apartment when that happened. I do remember that quite clearly, because I had no one to really talk to or cry to about it at that point in time, other than my accountant. So that's how I got out of that situation. So I asked for help. I found someone who knew how to get me through that situation, and I did it. But then there's also that, like, well, now I have to make more money, because you have to put aside for tax. And if I'm going to keep paying myself the amount that I want to pay myself, and if I want to have enough left over for all the expenses and the staff members and the stock and I like to travel and I like to party at that stage. And then I had to get really, really, really clear on how much money I actually had to be making in order to do that too. So then there comes a point in business where if you want to keep growing, you want to keep employing people, and you want to stay in business, sometimes you are actually forced to raise your prices. It can really scare a lot of people. It can make people think that clients won't buy from you. I actually wrote a little book on this not that long ago, end of last year, called How to Rock the Higher Prices and Own It with Zero Apologies, which I think is available on my Facebook page, on my website too, but I have to check because I don't know if I've uploaded it everywhere yet. But that's all about how to raise your prices and how it actually will work to help you grow your business faster, because it's one of the easiest ways to make more money, and so many of your clients will actually not be bothered by that, and they will pay you, especially if your work is good and the experience that they have with you is good, and they have a good emotional connection and stuff with you as well, which is something that I'm super duper passionate about. So that was the first thing that I just wanted to talk about or share that story, because my particular client is literally having that same fear that I had all of those years ago, and that's exactly what I did to get over that. So I thought it was worth sharing. Now the other thing that came up, and this is something that I have talked about a few times before, I've got YouTube videos on this, and I've got a few trainings on how to do this inside my programs, is that thing about, if you are working in a business by yourself and you are prepared to grow, or you're needing to grow, or you're kind of holding yourself back because you're not hiring anyone to help you grow, and that can be because of a fear of just not knowing how, like not knowing how to hire someone, not knowing how to train them, not knowing how to be a boss or an employer or a leader, like feeling like you literally have no idea what's going on and what to do, or being too nice or being too harsh, and then having people either walk all over you or be scared of you or steal from you. Like I've just been through all of that. But sometimes people can limit themselves or hold themselves back from either that kind of fear of just not knowing what to do, or from being screwed over in the past. Like the amount of people that I've talked to, or that I've met and that I've worked with and that I've helped, that have hired people in the past, had negative experiences with them as to, like, they don't do the work well enough or up to your standard, or they just don't respect you, they don't do their job properly, they don't show up on time, they cancel all the time, and they're always sick, or in the worst case scenario, in my case, they steal from you and lie to you and bitch about you behind your back. And now, knowing what I know now, I know why those things happened, and I take full responsibility for them. And it was because I wasn't being the boss or the leader or the employer that I should have been, and I employed the wrong people, and I didn't coach them enough and develop them enough in their self-development, as well as like actual physical development and training. One thing that I know that I did wrong a lot in the beginning is throw people into the deep end too much without any like kind of building relationships with them. I focused too much on building relationships with my clients and not enough with my team. So that's one big lesson that I guess I can share with you around how to get over those things. It's a human connection, and you have to have that with your team as well as your clients in order to have a great business. But when it comes back down to that fear of no one can do it as well as I can, so I may as well just do it all myself, because otherwise it's going to be too much work, or it's going to be too stressful, or I'm going to get hurt again, or I'm going to get burnt again, or it's just going to be so hard. That's actually something that can be holding you back as well. Now, another thing that I want to point out about this is not everybody actually wants to grow a team. Not everybody wants to grow a big business. Not everybody, like some people are really, really happy just doing it all themselves. And if that's the case, then that's totally fine for you as well, if you're happy doing that. But if you, for any reason you're not happy doing that, or you know deep down that, no, I know that I can build a massive business and that I'm meant to, and that I can help so many more people if I do that, which is exactly how I am. I don't know the word I get into a comfort zone for a little while, but then I'm like, all right, what's the next level from here? Because that's who I am. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I need growth, and I know so many of you guys do as well. But sometimes you talk yourself out of it because of the fears, or you settle, or you get into a comfort zone, or stuff like that. So if you want to grow a business, if you want to grow a large business or an empire, or get to multi 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 figures, like whatever you want to do in your life with your company, you have to be able to surrender your ego and control. You have to actually know that there are other people out there. You have to believe that there are other people out there who can do it as well as you, who can maybe even do it better than you, and that they're out there just waiting for you to find each other, because you will be a perfect match. There's people out there that are looking for the job or employment opportunity that you have, and there's you that's looking for those people, and they are out there. And it will come down to how well you care about them, and that you train them, and that you have to have a full abundance mindset too, because I've spoken to so many people who really freak out about, well, what if I put in all this effort training people, and then I get them up to my standard and they're amazing, and then they leave and they open up their own business and they steal my customers. So that's that's another fear that can be holding people back as well. That's always a possibility. I now believe that if someone wants to go and start their own business, who am I to stop them? Like, I did it. I know a lot of you people probably did it too. You people, you guys probably did it too. Working for someone else at one stage, and then you go, I'm going to go start my own business. It's just a thing. Like, you can't stop people from wanting to do that. And so now I adopt the mentality or the perspective of, if someone's going to come along on my journey and I can train them and help, like I look at, like, I'm helping them to reach their goals in life, and they're helping me for a period of my life, because I don't expect anyone to work for me forever. would love it if they do. And like everybody on my team so far in this current business, like nobody's left except for Cara because she had a baby and she's on maternity leave. But I've literally had no employees leave my current company, and I'm just like totally in love with that. But I know that I want to help them to do well in their own businesses. Actually, all of my employees right now also own their own companies, and I am helping them to grow their own business at the same time as they are helping me to grow my business. And so that's how I now look at employing people. It's like, it has to be a win-win for both. It just has to be. If it's not a win for them, then why should they be working for you? Anyway, the short answer to that is like, yes, there are people out there who are as good as you, can be as good as you, maybe even better than you. Sometimes that scares people off because then they will feel like they're, not as good, or they lose their sense of significance. They lose their sense of getting their praise and attention of, oh, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. If all of a sudden you were to employ someone who was better than you, or you train them to be better than you, then you would lose that. And that can kind of scare people a little bit as well. I was going to say something else and now I've forgotten what it is. That happens to me all the time. Oh, what was it? And also you can lose that feeling of significance and power and people knowing you and people liking you when you set up the business to run without you, because all of a sudden you're not there in the thick of it anymore. And as the business grows and you lose touch with the customers and you're not talking to the team members all the time, you can feel like, well, what do I do now? What am I doing now? And I was talking to someone about this the other day, actually, and when that does happen, and if you are wanting to set up a business to run without you or hire people so that the business will keep growing, there will come a point where you can no longer work in the business yourself, and you do have to focus on working on the business, but you need to be clear and you need to know on what you're actually going to be doing. You have to be totally open and transparent with your team as well, because if you don't tell them what you're doing, they're going to think you're sitting around doing nothing. And sometimes you can be sitting around doing nothing. I do that, but I totally tell my team that I'm doing it too. And they know that I don't work like set work hours. I might work early mornings and night and then have the whole afternoon off, which today I did. I went to see a movie with my husband, and we had a date afternoon. We went to see Ready Player One, and it was good. It's a really good movie. But that's just the gist of what I wanted to get across. Like, so if there's anything that's going through your head, like any of those fears and doubts, like, I can't hire people, it's going to be too hard, they're going to screw me over, no one can do it as good as me, or people won't pay more if I want to charge more, or, anything holding you back from growth. The truth is, only you are holding yourself back. Every one of those things can be overcome if you want to do it as well. Like, you don't have to, okay? So I did want to make that clear. I know there's so many people that are quite content having like a home business with themselves, just doing it all. I couldn't possibly do that. That's not my personality type, but I know that that's what a lot of people are happy to do as well. But if you basically will see and attract into your life what you believe as well. So if you believe that it is possible to do and have and achieve all those things and find the right people and have great relationships with your team members, and like my best friends right now are my team members, and I told them this. I'm like, you guys are my best friends, and you're my employees. There is no rule or reason saying that you can't do that. And also all of my employees started off as clients as well, and I've met some of my best friends as clients that I actually just want to hang out with and be friends with as well. So there are no rules saying there has to be boss up here and employees down here and clients down here, and just blur the lines, get rid of the fucking lines, take them out. It's just, life can be amazing and good, and everyone can be happy if you choose to make it so, if you choose to believe that it can, and if you're prepared to do the things that it takes to get there. So thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to contact me or post in the Coffee with Carissa group and let me know your thoughts or feelings or experiences or stories around this. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask at any time. And if I like them enough or feel like I can rant on them for a period of time, then I may turn them into an episode. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Cool. Well, that was a podcast episode, guys. I'm going to click back onto here and see if there's any comments. All right, we've got, where do we listen to the podcast, says Tess? Nowhere yet. I'm just still recording them. I haven't uploaded anywhere. Amanda says hello. Shanice said hello. Catherine says sometimes I worry if growth will complicate my simple life. Well, growth does come with more responsibility. Absolutely, it does. But I feel like I have a very simple life. It goes through stages, so you might want to grow in like bursts, and then like you can't just be on hustle mode all the freaking time. You've got to like hustle, and then flow and relax and stop for a little while. Lindy says I'm not scared, but I am scared. Kylie says, hi Kylie. Sarah said, new book suggestion. Carissa Hill, Your Story, to be followed by Carissa Hill, the movie. Maybe one day. Lindy says, once you become friends with clients, do I still charge them the same? Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't ever discount things for people just because you're friends with them. Like you've got to, it's a business. It's not you. It's not them just giving you money. It's a business. So that's actually a really important thing that might be a good other rant. You've got to treat your business as a business. Yeah. So, and that will help, like if you're not working in it either, if they have to pay, like talk to your team members and go through the process that you've got systemized, then it's not just like they're giving you money and you can be like, oh yeah, I'll charge you less this time. It's like, no, you pay the price. All right. Well, I'd love to know if anyone has any comments on this. I will update everybody once the podcast episodes actually go onto like iTunes and stuff. Because as I said, there's a few that I have recorded already and I haven't released yet. But yeah, let me know what you think. And if you'd like to see more like this. All right. Good night or good morning, depending on where you are. And I'll see you next time.